Brigadier General Steve Ritchie, United States Air Force. Brigadier General Steve Ritchie is an accomplished pilot, businessman, and motivational speaker. As a command pilot with more than 4,000 flying hours, including 800 in combat, General Ritchie is the first and only Air Force pilot ace since the Korean War, and the only American pilot in history to down 5 MiG-21s. Born in Reidsville, North Carolina, Steve Ritchie was an honor student and football standout as a high school quarterback. Ritchie entered the Air Force Academy in 1960, graduating in '64 with a BS in engineering science. While there, he was a football walk-on and made the team as a starting halfback for the Falcons, playing his final game in the 1963 Gator Bowl. Ritchie then entered pilot training at Laredo, Texas, and graduated first in his class. His initial assignment was at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, flying F-104 starfighters. In 1968, Ritchie served as an F-4 aircraft commander at Da Nang Air Base, Vietnam, where he flew the first F-4 fast forward air controller mission in Vietnam. He was instrumental in the spread of the FAST FAC program throughout Southeast Asia. It proved to be one of the most successful operations of the entire conflict. In 1969, he completed the Air Force Top Gun Fighter Weapons School in the Phantom and became one of the youngest instructors in the history of the school. Ritchie volunteered for a second tour in Southeast Asia in 1972 and compiled an aviation record that will likely never be equaled. He shot down a MiG-21 on May 10th and another on May 31st. He downed 2 more MiG-21s on July 8th in a classic low-altitude dogfight that lasted 89 seconds. Steve was victorious again on August 28th while flying his 339th combat mission, making him the Air Force's first and only pilot ace since the Korean War, and the only American pilot in history to down 5 MiG-21s. At the urging of Senator Barry Goldwater, then Major Ritchie left active duty in April 1974 to run for U.S. House of Representatives from his home state of North Carolina. Thereafter, he worked as special assistant to Joseph Coors for the next 6 years and was promoted to lieutenant colonel while serving in the Colorado Air National Guard. Ritchie transferred to the Air Force Reserves in 1985, holding positions in the Pentagon. In 1994, he was promoted to Brigadier General and served as mobilization assistant to the Commander of Air Force Recruiting. In 1997, Ritchie flew an active-duty F-4E Phantom at the Air Force 50th Anniversary Show, and has flown the only privately owned Phantom more than 100 times at air shows and special events. He is currently the only pilot to be FAA type-rated in the F-104 starfighter, more than 40 years after having flown the world's fastest low-altitude jet. Today, General Ritchie travels, speaking about aviation, national security, and America's free market system as president of Steve Ritchie Associates, Inc. Brigadier General Ritchie is one of the most decorated pilots in Air Force history, having been awarded the Air Force Cross, 4 Silver Stars, 10 Distinguished Flying Crosses, and 25 Air Medals.